Like you're an interesting person to speak to, and they're the type of convos that I think we both enjoy.
I'm going on another podcast. This guy wants to do a documentary on me next week.
Oh, that's cool.
And I'm like, I think I'm fucking boring. But everyone's like, no, your story is really cool. But I think maybe it's just because I put my story out there of me being fat, skinny, like people want to look into that. But I don't know.
What's the documentary going to actually consist of?
So he sent me ones he's done before, and it was of like, you know, like CEO turns into ultra marathon runner, like really cool guy.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, there's little old me being a coach who lives in Northeast, like with my missus, but he just really liked my story. I think about the, you know, just going from skinny, the modeling, then bulking up, and I think more like that kind of side of like the body image stuff. So we'll see how it goes, but I got to set up this camera like this as my webcam.
Okay.
So you have to get like capture card, is it? Something like that.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting because he's in the US, but yeah, no, appreciate being back on. I was like, second time, I was like, really?
Vamos.
I thought,
Oh, what's changed? It's been what, 7 months?
Yeah, it's been
around 7 months since we had you on, and in that time, a lot has happened. You've got married. You blew up on socials. You lived in another country. Like, fill us in, bro. Like, how's life?
yeah, but in summary, life is very good, but it's been, do you know when, like I felt like I've lived my life like 100 miles an hour the past 7 months, because the last time we were speaking, I remember I was late in the UK a little bit. The weather, the taxes, blah, blah, blah. That's why I'm going to Portugal. Like, you can have a digital nomad visa, so you only pay, it's capped at 20% tax. And so we shipped the whole life over, but long story short, it didn't work because there's a backlog with the visa. And I drove there 26 hours with little Oscar in the back and the BM like filled to the brim. And then we had to like just call it quits, like cut our losses and be like, we gotta go back, because it just wasn't working. Like, you know, to run a business with, you don't know if you're going to be there with the visa. And then we also wanted to get married as well, and we didn't want to like postpone that. So we just got eloped, but that as well on top of the moving. That was as we were moving. So we had to come back to the UK, fly. And then on top of that, like, you know, since I spoke to you lads, we launched a new program, basically a new one-to-one fitness program, and that was going very well. And then to finish it off, like, basically not blew up on Instagram, but had a huge influx of followers, which was a new kind of challenge for the business as well, because you don't want to like suffocate from growth, you know, where you can't take on that load of new clients, or make sure you have the systems in place to make sure it's not just someone who has lots of followers, or someone who actually has a business because of the followers. So there was like a lot to learn at once. And then I had to move back from Portugal, long story short. And ever since we've got back, it's just been non-stop like grafting, just making sure that we keep building this good program. That's the main focus right now.
How long were you in Portugal for?
Not long. 3 months, just over 3 months.
Right. What was it that
I had to drive back.
obviously you I bet that was tough.
I had like,
That's minus aura.
that's negative. By the end, I was negative aura in that car. I was seriously at the ferry. It was non-stop because we had to get back for the new place. So I was just chugging. Like, I think I had like 8 Red Bulls in the span of 24 hours.
But did you do it?
Not great.
You didn't do it straight, did you?
Yeah.
Well, you did.
I had to. I ran a webinar for my clients. Not even for clients, but I ran a webinar because we had a bunch of new followers. So I wanted to show them, hey, look, we know our shit. So I ran that webinar, and after the webinar at 8 p.m., the car was packed and I had to drive 26 hours. Shit, you know, so it was a long day of work. And then driving non-stop. So that was brutal.
Obviously, I know there was the stuff with the visas and things like that, but like off camera, we were talking about that you that you want to stay in the UK now. Why? Is it because that's almost like a bit of a controversial opinion now, isn't it?
Yeah. So I've been to Dubai for clients. So I've had that taste of Dubai, and it is great. Don't get me wrong. Like, you feel very safe. I really like a lot of aspects to Dubai. But I think at my stage in my life, where I'm 30 years old now, I'm married, I don't need to be in the city. My job is online. As long as you're good at content, people kind of find you. And there's just something about not having greenery in Dubai for me is very, very important for mental health, but it is, right?
Some grounding.
Yeah, and I just don't want to be in a city anymore. I've been in the cities in London, and unless I have to, right, I'm not going to. And then we had the taste of Portugal. So we had the sun, and I thought, you know, all you need is the sun. I had a great boxing gym, and life was very simple.
Your gym actually looked dope. I remember your content is like that black aesthetic, and
I loved being in there. That was like my little safe haven. And so you did have that aspect, but dude, there's just something about the UK, and people slate it. And I feel like it's a British thing to like moan about the weather and the taxes and the economy and blah blah blah. But people sometimes often come back. Maybe they'll go to Dubai for 3 or 5 years, but they'll come back. I don't know what it is, because the weather's not great here, and a lot of the infrastructure doesn't work. But there's just something about the UK, especially, it depends where you live, but we live basically like on the outskirts of a town. And so the population density is very low. So the roads work, the gyms aren't busy, and you can go for a walk and it's not crazy on the weekend. So for me, that's I haven't found that anywhere else. Not that I've lived in Thailand or the US, but I just find this, even when I was in Portugal, there's just something about the UK. I don't know if it's just the meal deals or something, but there's just, I can't quite pinpoint it. I'd love to be able to break it down. Maybe it is just because...
That's what I was going to say. It's like comfortable. It's the home feel, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Because even though Portugal was going well, even with Dubai, I couldn't see myself there. And I think there are a bunch of entrepreneurs leaving this country, but there are also many entrepreneurs staying for the quality of life here. It is really good if you set it up well. And for me, okay, taxes, but I was just like, well, make more money. Simple as that. Like, you just got to make more. And so that was my mindset with that. Because
you know what though, you say make more money, but once you reach a certain level, you're literally working half the year for free.
Sure.
Like that, I haven't reached the stage yet where that tax bill comes and you're like, fuck, that's a mortgage. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? But it makes me feel a little bit sick just thinking about it. Especially when, yes, we can say we live in a country where there's a lot of stuff that other countries don't have. We have the NHS and well, I say we have the NHS and all the other stuff, but everything that comes with the UK and how it's packaged. But is it really worth that much? It's like they kind of want us to leave.
Yeah, well, it's case by case. So I agree. Once you're earning 7-8 figure, you're going to think twice about setting up your business in Dubai. Mm-hmm. A lot of people do, wherever it is, tax havens. But you've got to ask yourself, at your current situation, what would make you happier, right? Because we went to Portugal, and you know, between us and the audience, we didn't have to pay any tax legally, mm-hmm. And so, okay, we're not earning mega big bucks yet with this online coaching space, but it is in a good space, it is in a good spot, and to me, I found that right now in my life, I would rather be here. Yeah, I would cross that bridge when I come to it. You know, there are things all around that with accountants and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But for now, I think it's a really good place, because you got to ask yourself, like, would I be willing to ruin my peace now that I found for an extra 40-50% revenue? Some people would say yes, but again, there are ways around that legally as well. Yeah. So when I look at quality of life, because it's about life, it's not about money. The quality of life for me as an individual is better, and I work better here.
I was just about to say, I would also argue that if you are enjoying your life more, your quality of life is higher, you probably will end up making more money anyway, because you're going to be more efficient, you're going to be more motivated, you're going to be on it because you're happy.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, I would rather make a decision out of abundance rather than scarcity, because okay, it's a big difference in terms of revenue of taxes paid, but I would rather, what would make me happier in the immediate, where I can actually work to the degree which I can then worry about that bigger problem. Yeah. Right now, that's not a problem. So what's going to make you happy right now? So that's the way I came up with that kind of cost-benefit analysis towards that choice.
There was something about Dubai when we went, and it was like literally within the first couple of days of being there, I was just walking around, like around the park, like where we stayed. It was quite a nice, like family area. There was kids playing and stuff like that. I just could never imagine bringing up a family there. It was just too, like a film, like LA in a film is like kind of like the best way that I could describe it. It was too plastic. It was too
Hasn't got soul.
safe. Yeah,
I'm gonna get
that culture.
I really like Dubai. Don't get me wrong.
I think it's a great place as well.
No, come back in though. Come back in, but like do it like a hook because this is gonna be a good clip. Like I like Dubai, but it doesn't have any soul. I mean it. We need to increase the aura points. Sorry, oh shit,
got my soul.
I fucked it. I ruined it.
But you know, it's serious. When you look around on paper, it's got everything. It is really good, and even for networking, if you want to call it that, but just the right people are there. It is easier, but I don't know. Like yourself, H, I couldn't imagine myself living there long term. A lot of people can.
I could see myself like in and out of Dubai,
In and out for sure.
like a month, 2 weeks,
Yeah, sure.
maybe 2 months. But it's like actually staying there. There's just something that just feels off. Like especially about bringing up kids there. Like I couldn't. If I grew up in Dubai, I'd be such a wet wipe. Genuinely, it's the best way for me to describe it. Like I don't think that the best way to describe it is I don't think that I'd have as much aura. Like it's too safe.
It lacks hardships.
Yeah, it's too cushioned.
Yeah.
It's the best way for me to describe it. Like you said, it's hard to put into words about the UK. It's the same thing.
Yeah, for sure. It's great, but yeah, each to their own.
I fucking love Dubai.
Do you?
Really do. I get fired up when I'm there. I get excited.
You'd say that though if you lived there.
Well, I'd never lived there, so I don't know.
Yeah.
And the time that we kind of lived there, let's say, I wouldn't say lived there, but we were there for a month.
Yeah, sure.
If we went and we had like loads of bread, it would probably be a very different
I
experience.
was just about to say, yeah. If we weren't living out of a 2-bedroom apartment and we were living on a palm villa where we had our own space, we had a sauna, a cold plunge, in our back garden, a pool, access to the beach there as well. Like I know we're talking about the top percentile of people that are living in Dubai now, but if you have those things, I feel like you feel a bit more soul. You wake up, you walk down, sun's coming up, you go into the private part of the beach that you have access to, then you hit your workout in the home gym, then things would be different. We didn't live the baller life whilst we were out there because we went out there to graft. And we also went out there pretty broke. So,
well, comparatively to what Dubai is, right?
of course, yeah. We were
exactly.
working within our means. Do you know what I mean? We weren't eating out every evening, or we weren't really treating ourselves well when we were out there. We weren't shopping. We didn't have any supercars that we were driving. It was just Kareem all day, every day, and just trying to kind of get work whilst we were out there, as well as obviously enjoy ourselves. But
Do you think though, because my thought with Dubai as well, I don't think there's any point moving out unless you're making minimum 10K a month, minimum. Even then,
oh yeah,
you know, that even then it might be questionable. But do you think, because I've always looked around when I was in Dubai and maybe I could see myself getting caught up in, you know, well, I'm going to get a Porsche because you're surrounded by it and it is so extravagant.
I was going to get a Porsche anyway.
No, that's difficult for me to right now. We're at the point where, you know, all the money you do make for the business has to go right back into it, whether that's mentors, whether that's building further infrastructure, rather than, because I've loved cars as well, but you have to be sensible because we're only like really a year old with this offer anyway. But there's definitely an aspect when you're in Dubai, the Porsches, the Ferraris, and I'm like, would it even feel special because you're surrounded by billionaires where it's like dime a dozen LaFerraris, whatever it is, Bugatti. So
you can flip it though again and say that might inspire and motivate you to do more, to be more, to achieve more. I think everything comes down to your perspective.
Depends on what level you're happy at, right? Because it's hedonism. Like once you get to, you know, 10K a month, everyone's like, oh, that's so much money. Once you do it, it's like, okay, that's right. And then it's the same at scales, right? $1 million a month, whatever it is you're doing. And so you have to ask yourself, like, at what point is it where you're content? And so for me, my ideal life, now that I'm in my 30s and married, you say Dubai with the lovely apartments and the beach bars and all this stuff. I could enjoy that temporarily, but that's not for me in this chapter. Right now, my idea is a lovely, cozy house in the countryside with, you know, a big garage and drive and all that stuff. So it just really depends on what stage you're at in your life. Like we were talking before, when we were in London, I always had this vision when I was like 18. I had a suit and I'd be working in marketing or something in Westminster. And I actually did that, and it was horrible. One of the most depressive states of my life, but I didn't realize it at the time. So, yeah, you got to ask what makes you happy, really.
Do you find enjoyment out of like the simple things in life?
I always say if you can't be happy with a coffee, you'll never be happy with a yacht.
I love coffee.
Yeah.
And I love yachts.
But even little things, like I was boxing the other day, and I even put it on my story the other day, and a lot of guys resonated that. It was like a cultural male thing. It was like peak male experience, and it was my wife just took a picture of
100%.
dinner, and I was training, you know, and I've been a long day, like clients, and I was training, and I get that message, and I'm so fucking lucky. Guys, like...
I think I like that story, actually.
Did you? Yeah,
I'm sure I did as well.
And you put back, thanks, darling.
Yeah. But things like that, I was like, my previous self would have, and a lot of guys as well, would kill for that. So why am I always... It's a double-edged sword. I find like it's a common trait amongst guys who always want to do well. They're never satisfied. And Amy's like, actually, like, you're doing so well. Like, why are you beating yourself up because you had a bad day or you weren't that productive? Yeah. But it's a double-edged sword, because she's always seeing it as you're never happy. But I'm seeing it as like, the success is just a standard. And so why would I be happy right now? It's just a standard for me. Like, of course, I'm putting in the work. The input is the drivers are. But then you have to try and stop yourself and be like, hang on a minute. You have what a lot of people, irrespective of like monetary success, would be like, wow, that's a dream. I'm out here chasing multiple women thinking like, I need to find the one. I'm on Hinge and I'm considering Love Island. And yet what you really want is just a good woman like that, who's there with you thick and thin through the beginning of the business. And is there to be a rock for you, not to be, you come home at the end of the day and she's like, well, I've had just a bad day as you as well. That's the last thing you want, right? Yeah, that's the last thing you want. So it's like, to have that is where you have to try and like, because you'll look back in this and be like, you have it really good, but you're not enjoying it. I always envision that like when I'm 80, 90 and try and think, it's kind of like a little bit of exercise where I'll sit there and imagine my life's kind of in the last trimester. And I'll look back to these times where I'm building and, you know, relatively newly married and all this stuff. And you just say to yourself, if you were there, you'd be like, just fucking enjoy it. I know it's quite stressful and you feel like once you get to X, then you'll be happy. But it's a choice right now. And so when I took that picture of the WhatsApp, that was a way of me to kind of capture that moment, to be like, look, this is what the little things are in life. This is what makes you happy, not these big, huge milestones of whatever. Usually it's monetary. But
Literally on our last podcast that we filmed on Saturday with Sterling Cooper, we were having this conversation. Oh, yes. And I said, like, the only thing that a man truly wants when you dial it down is respect and belief.
Sure.
It's so pure and like it's so loving when you actually get that from a woman that you care about.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's few and far between, unfortunately. I think, at least in the West, we are encouraged to have a wandering eye. We're encouraged that the grass is greener.
It's so accessible though, because you open your phone
and
it's like, like women or I don't know, degeneracy, and you see all of these things, and it's so accessible.
And it's like, what else do you do? Do you not play at all? Because whether you like it or not, that's how a lot of people meet nowadays, is Hinge, whatever the dating app is. So I feel sorry for a lot of, I say it like I'm some old guy now, but I feel sorry for like the younger generation having to go through dating. I think it's very toxic nowadays. Like even having Instagram followers is a form of social status, whether a girl will speak to you or not. And you could say, well, she was never the right girl then, is she, if she's going to judge you on that? But it definitely plays into it all. There's a lot of pressure you got to have followers. You got to be 6 foot. You got to make 6 figures. You got to have abs. You got to be...
Well, there's a lot of people to compete with, isn't there? Because the same way there's access for us to open our phone up and see this next girl and this next girl is the same way that when they open their phone up, you best know there's a couple of thirsty, 6 foot, shredded, rich guys that are
competing with the top percentile.
Yeah.
So they have access to that now. Well, not access, but they can visibly see that. So they're going to want that than the guy who's still trying to work on himself, but he has good intentions, but he doesn't really have much right now. So I feel sorry for people a lot in that regard, because it's ruthless, and you can almost feel like a bit of a loser because you're like, I can't get any girls. It's like, well, yeah, because going towards the top percentile because social media is pushing, like, you're going to see that naturally.
Yeah.
So I just think if you can find a good woman and take your time, like, before Amy, I never had a girlfriend in my life. I was 26 when I met her. I think actually 27. Never had a girlfriend in my life. And I'm so glad I waited, because there was a lot of pressure actually to be like, you're good looking at that. You should be sleeping around. You should go on Love Island. You should whatever. But I'm glad that I waited, because I think if I had gone down that route, you could say, oh, you could get out your system. But once you find the right woman, like, there's no thought process of that. Like, oh, I wish I got out my system, because you're content. It's like if you had kids, you would never think, oh, I wish I didn't have this kid. Wish I would have made the most of it, because you've changed permanently now your character so that you couldn't even think anything else without that child. And similarly with your wife or a good woman, I don't think you should be so pressured to sleeping around or to follow what everyone else is doing online, because what might happen is you start to look for like a Frankenstein woman of all the women you've slept with, and it's like this amalgamation of Becky, Sarah, and you're trying to fit it all, and you're never going to find the right one because the grass is greener. And there's this girl that's followed you and she's liked your stuff, and oh, you know what, the relationship's not going very well, fuck it. And so where does that end? I think that leaves you down a very lonely road. And some guys like that. Some guys want to just do that, which is fine. I think one of the biggest decisions you can ever make is your partner. It can either make you or break you, and it dictate a lot of things. And I know of guys who they select their partners and they change for the better or worse. So I think trying to find a good quality woman, take your time with it. But what really helped me is just building myself up. And that's actually a large reason why I stayed single. I didn't feel good enough to be for that caliber of woman. That is my wife now. Because I was like, well, I wouldn't date myself. You know, I only moved out at 24. Yeah, 24. Hadn't really achieved anything. So my mindset was, yeah, I could go and sleep around, but I would rather find a good quality relation. But for me to do that, I feel like I'd need to be a guy worthy of that. Yeah. And so in your 20s, you feel like a loser because you don't have any experience. All the women are dating these top percentile men who are late 20s, 30s. So what's the other choice? You just cry and moan about it and how the world's horrible, which it is. The world's tough.
Or get on with your shit.
Or you could just crack on with it. And I just saw that as a challenge. You can either grow into that and see it like a video game. Right? How many skills can I get? Cool, I'm at the bottom. Can't get any worse than this. Let's start learning this. Let's put myself out here. Let's reinvent myself. So I think that's very important during that time, is to be the person you would date.
Mm-hmm. I think there's something very pure about like as a man, when you're on your journey and someone's along with you for the ride. I feel like that's very pure. And like when I look at my current situation, it's like, what do I want? Do I want someone along the journey for the whole way? Or do I want to meet someone when I've at the top, but they haven't been through the struggle and the hardship, but believed in me that whole time?
It's once you have it, a lot of people crave, like, this is what they're secretly yearning for through all the dating. They actually you would rather just have that one person who is your best friend, your business partner, you can count on for anything. Once you get that, there's no, it's just a lot of peace. I remember when we first got together, because I never had a girlfriend before, so I didn't know what to base this off, whether it was just lust or whatever. But once you get that, there's a lot of peace, because you know where your direction of life is roughly going, because you're going to be with this person through thick and thin. So you know they're going to be part of it in some way, and there's a lot of peace to be found in that. Right.
It's a crazy thing to think about, that you like, once you're with someone, that you're with them for the rest of your life. I know that that's such like a simple thought.
I'm quite an
I was
old,
thinking
old
about
romance.
This the other day. Yeah.
I'm quite an old romantic guy like that. I like that monogamous through thick and thin. I think it's a dying thing. I quite like it.
I actually think
penguins.
I actually think that that's more like me as well. But like
when we're like penguins.
That's what penguins do.
Yeah, they stay together for life.
They partner and that's it. Sorry, Age. Sorry.
Minus aura, by the way.
You could put like a little thing next to my head.
Aura score.
Yeah.
Like a leaderboard. I've lost my point now.
Sorry,
We were
bro.
talking about how you're yourself are a little bit like that. Like,
Oh, no, 100%. I think that like that's me to a T, but like still like that thought, thinking that it's like, I think the scariest part is like wondering if it's the right person.
It's a
Do you
bit
get what I'm saying?
it's
And
a
it's
bit
like
overwhelming.
it's overwhelming 100%. It's like the rest of your life, like that's it. Like
the
chosen
things,
this.
yeah. So I would say to that, it's such a cliche, but when you know, you know.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
yeah.
even up for debate. There's no like, do I really want to commit? It's that you can't help yourself but commit. That's the kind of dynamic that it is. So I would say until you found that, then don't settle. Because a lot of people settle for shitty relationships, to be frank. And I think, again, whether you like it or not, they're going to affect your trajectory in life. Oh, you're working again. Oh, why are you always working on a business? Like, it's the last thing you want. It should be, go on, you go, darling, like, here's some food. Like, really,
Really,
there's anything I can do? Like, she helps in the business. I took her on. That was another thing as well with Portugal. I took her on as well.
That's cool.
Yeah. So she worked in marketing in Manchester. And it's just a bullshit corporate job. And long story short, they didn't like the fact that she wasn't selling her soul and plus 13 hours a day, like several hours unpaid. So they just looked for a way to get rid of her. And they did it over Zoom. And I just said, I just said, fuck this company, come work for me. And then just put the call down. And after that, I was like, let's just do it. Like the business that we're on is quite new, but it's going very well. And I'm always a bit of a risk taker, calculated risk. And ever since then, she's only helped it.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, bro, I mean, you're saying calculated risk, but I mean, you've committed to the rest of your life with this woman. I mean, it'd probably be a good thing if she knows what's going on. Do you know what I mean?
What I would say is like, there's nothing we can hide. Like, we always find it a bit weird how couples are a bit funny about the phone.
Yeah.
She is literally sweet as, like, whatever.
Yeah.
She's on my phone more than me.
Yeah.
Like, she, and there's a lot of, again, just trust, and you're just very relaxed around them. There's nothing to hide. So, yeah, I think it's important, man, to be ready for that and not settle for it, because guys can screw your whole life up by picking the wrong women.
I think we've quoted you 6 or 7 times since the podcast.
A philosopher.
You know what am I going to say?
Your vibe is your tribe.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
You see,
It's a good saying, though.
I'm not gonna sit here and be like, I invented these. I
own it.
obviously stole them, like steal like an artist. No one's original, right?
Well, what I was going to get onto is that we've quoted you multiple times on the podcast since, and we always name drop as well. I'm going to say shout out Alex for this one. But your vibe attracts your tribe, right? And I feel like it would be the same way that you will attract a woman. You were saying, don't go looking, don't go looking, don't go looking, you'll just know. What was, to this young aspiring guy that's maybe in his early 20s, what is his vibe to attract not only the tribe of men and guys for camaraderie, but also that woman?
What is that? Is it Chinese philosophy? Kaizen?
Oh, I love that philosophy. I was going to get it
Always
tatted on
improving?
me as my first thing. Yeah.
Always improving?
Yeah, it's like
Something
1% every day,
Yeah,
basically.
every day, right? Just improving on yourself. Like you have so much potential, but it's untapped, and it's only going to be released through work, sheer work, blood, sweat, and tears. And so I would just say, as long as you're improving in some aspect, and I would say most men, especially me, I don't want to say happy. I'm very content with life when I'm improving in some endeavor. Whether I've been gymming 16 years, I find it boring now. Like, there's only so much you can train that hard to gain 0.3 milli.
You need to go hybrid, bro. It's the next challenge.
Boxing, dude. Boxing's the one. Hybrid is okay, but I would always just say it's like someone who loves weights but is average at running. And it's like, you've got to really love running, I think. And a lot of people don't know how to run as well. Like, the gaiters off, like the heel strike too hard. So I would say hybrid training is good for someone like me who's been doing it 16 years and can push, pull, carry, squat, hinge effectively. But a lot of people, you've seen this yourself, the explosion of it, and they want to jump straight to that. And it's like, no. Go and put the foundation in. Go and get that foundation of strength and muscle with the ligaments.
I actually saw your clip, and it's like everyone wants to jump to hybrid, but they didn't get the muscles from being hybrid.
I wouldn't be my size and like as confident as I am when I back my top off. Like, now that I run and stuff, if I didn't put in like 10, like literally 9 years of weight training, dirty bulks, eating like 5,000 calories a day to put on size. Like,
Pack of Krispy Kremes in a Chinese.
Yeah,
We've all done it, mate, back in the day.
but it's like I wouldn't be in the shape that I'm in now if it wasn't for that. I wouldn't have the amount of muscle. Yeah, strong.
I think it should be a bit more. I mean, are you going to say that because you're going to kind of then discredit what you do as a hybrid athlete? But that I feel like for a lot of 95% of people who have a physique like that who do run, you didn't get that by balancing running. Because I would say there's no solution to that. There's a perfect balance. People always ask about how do I balance it. I would only ever say there's a compromise. You have to be willing to compromise a little bit in the muscle building aspect. Be very smart with your programming. Yeah. And so I would say for most people who, quite frankly, beginners or intermediates, you'd be better off just getting that foundation, 3 to 5 years lifting. Just do it properly. So I'm not saying you can't run. Keep your zone 2 up. Cardiovascular health, max, brilliant. But if you get this foundation up first, it's only going to have a positive knock-on effect to the running later. And so if you try and do both, you have a finite amount of energy, a finite amount of ability to recover. It's better to be smart with that limited resource. Build this up to a degree once it's pretty self-sustaining. Muscle memory, it's going to stay there, really. Like for me, I only train 3 times, 4 times a week, and I can maintain my size.
Really? I train twice a week, bro. Weights, and I maintain my size. If not, I put on strength, genuinely, and I train full body as well.
Eh?
I said I train full body as well, so I'm only hitting like 2 to maybe 3 sets max. Per muscle group per week.
I mean, don't get me wrong, to get here, I had to train 5-6 days a week, push-pull legs for years. But once you've got it, it does tend to homeostasis. Your body kind of wants to stay the same as
body's very like clever with all that.
We don't even understand it, man, right? So I want to, put a bit of a disclaimer with that. Training is a skill. People think they know how to train. You just lift heavy and progressively overlook. It's a skill to be able to brace, be able to do a safe and effective form, to slow down your eccentrics, to take proper rest periods, to make sure that you're getting the most out of each and every set. So for me, for example, I do no more than 12 working sets usually on a workout. And I'm fried after 12 sets, mostly compound movements. I'm absolutely tapped. But a lot of people are like, I'm doing like 21 sets. How are you getting a good workout from that? But they think they need this crazy amount of volume. And it's like, just do less with more, like quality over the quantity. But that's a skill. I always akin to it like a bit of a dart player. To get to 180, someone who's new at darts, they're going to need a lot of attempts to get to that number. Someone who's a professional dart player, boom, boom, boom. Same in the gym. I can get the most out of even just 2 working sets. I can take the muscle to that mechanical tension where it's going to hopefully facilitate growth. I can get them much better and easier than you can because I've been doing it for so long. So again, get that foundation in and just make it fun. So if you want to go and do muscle ups, if you want to do calisthenics alongside of it, if you want to, do more body weight movements or, obviously you have to enjoy it, otherwise you're not going to stick to it. But people just want to jump to this sexy stuff because it looks cool. It does. I'm a hybrid athlete. I can run, I can do it all. Get one thing in first, then let's talk about the running. So for me with the boxing, I've loved boxing for years. I haven't really been able to do it as much as I want to even now because I know that it would at some point perhaps hinder the way I look. And frankly, I think my looks do affect the business and also just poundage on your rotator cuffs, throwing a lot of hooks, and you do push the next day. So there's a compromise with that. So for me, now that I've built up this foundation, I can train happily 3-4 days a week with not much volume because I'm good at it. And now I've taken back some ability to recover because I'm not training so much, and I can put that to boxing now 2-3 times a week and still maintain it, right?
I want to ask you personally. I'm intrigued. You say you're good at it, and you can get away with just training 3 or 4 times a week. I only want to train 3-4 times a week. How do I get good at it to the point where I can get in, I can get out, and I can be fried after, but I've still then got the days to fill it with other stuff, a bit of paddle or football or boxing or whatever it is?
Well, first thing I would say is everybody loves the outcome, but not the process. So you want that outcome, but as soon as I tell you this process now, you're not really going to want to, it's not sexy.
Try me.
Sure. So it is as unsexy as it sounds. It is just consistent repetition over years. Like the first 5 years of your, I don't know if you call it lifting career, but if you're not in that minimum 3 to 4 times a week consistently and you're progressively over, like you are categorically, like one of the first things I'll ask a person who wants to work with us or a potential client, and they're struggling with, say, like gaining muscle, like I'm just plateaued, I don't know why. It's just, I start to lose muscle when I cut and all these things. Okay, are you tracking your workouts? Yeah, kind of. Okay, well, what's your bench at? You should know that pretty much off the back of your hand. Whether like, and you might be like, well, that's a bit obsessive. Like, I'm not a bodybuilder. No, you don't have to be a bodybuilder, but you want to follow some of the principles that bodybuilders follow to still get somewhat, even just somewhat of a result. Like building muscle is difficult. You need every variable in your favor just to build even just a few grams. Like, regardless, people say, it's not really that difficult if you're just out of uni and you got loads of time and that's what you're gonna do. When you're trying to run a business and you got a wife and you got kids and you got a social life, you need every parameter in your favor, including tracking your workouts, your sleep, all these things, to even get somewhat result you're afterwards, right? So the first thing I would say with you, man, is make sure we're tracking, like fundamentally, whether you like it or not.
I don't.
Yeah, they're right there. Like you would see.
I know, like off the top of my head, like what weights I'm hitting, and I'm always trying to push it.
Your memory's not as good as you think it is.
Yeah.
Not until you've tracked it and you're like, because the thing is with progressive overload, you need marginal gains, right? And to see those marginal, it's only one extra rep every workout.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not tracking, you're not going to know that because you've got 3, 4, maybe 6 exercises max. And what it really helps you with when you track is it gamifies it. You go in with a bit more of a purpose on that workout. Like,
You want to be the last one.
got to get
Yeah.
I
a
track.
bit more intensity behind the set.
I track just my compounds.
Yeah.
I can't, to be honest with you, once I finish my compound movements, because that's like the fun part of my session, I do my accessory work. Like I'm not really too fussed.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. I always call it KPI movements. What's your key performance indicators? What movements are they? You want to get a bigger chest? You have to be tracking your bench press, dude. You got to be tracking your pressing movements. If you're not so bothered about your triceps, yeah, right, that's pretty blasé about tricep extensions. But the more data, the better, especially from a coaching aspect, because the more data I have as a coach, I can look at it objectively and not be masked by subjective human feelings.
My watch has a pretty cool feature, you know. I don't use it because it pisses me off whilst I'm training, but you can like load your workout in through the app, like the actual exercises, and after each set you can put in how many reps.
Oh, really? That's
yeah,
awesome.
so that makes it super convenient if you're actually trying to track your
I really like that. You know why? Because you're not on your phone.
Yeah.
And I made a video about this the other day, but you would get a better workout in, not just physically, but mentally. Like you'll feel better by just not going on this bloody thing. Like I see it all the time, especially people running busices or like WhatsApp groups.
I'm bad for it. I am.
And I used to be like that as well. And still at the gym.
I walked in the gym this morning, like it actually pissed me off a little bit. I try and, in my spare time, I try not to go on my phone too much, unless I'm in a doom scroll and that's my chill time. Like,
It happens.
yeah, it does happen. But it's like I've walked in the gym, like no phone or anything, and I've seen calf raises, phone, cable ropes, 2 people phone. I was like, fucking hell. I was like, it's like
7 a.m.
No, it was 20 to 7. I was like, what?
Dude, it's
like,
these,
what is going on at
it's
this
these
time?
same people on their phones that say that I have better genetics, or they don't know why, but there must be an outlier and they can't build muscle.
I think a lot of that, listen, I could be completely wrong. I don't know what's going on in these people's lives. But it's like, for me, it's like being uncomfortable with your own thoughts is like, oh, let me just pull out my phone. It gives me something to do.
You can't even do it on the tube, on the underground in London. You waiting for a bus or something, or you're waiting for a taxi. People can't even just be alone with the thoughts. And I always try and use that as a moment to practice stillness and reflect. Because we're so bombarded with information nowadays, doom scrolling, YouTube shorts. It's non-stop. Like this guy's saying this guy's saying this. And when do we ever just stop and reflect? And I think a lot of the reason why people are reporting an increase in brain fog, aside from the dietary side of things, the information and whatnot, we have so much information that we don't actually sit and digest it and say like, okay, we're going to discard this piece of information. And we struggle to articulate ourselves because there's so much information coming in.
It's quick info as well, isn't it?
It's quick. So we know a lot, but it's not a depth.
Mm-hmm.
We don't understand. We know, but we don't understand.
Yeah.
And so this is where this brain fog, I think, stems from. This is a thesis of my theory, but it's very subsurface information, but it's not deep. So you struggle to articulate and put things together because you don't understand it at a depth.
Makes sense.
And where you have stillness on one topic, for example, you're going to learn, for example, let's say you're going to learn something in business about managing numbers, right? CRM, whatever. If you just learn that for like a month, and watch several videos and trainings, just that one thing, you won't have brain fog on that topic because your brain will make connections, associations. And so you're more articulate. Whereas if you learn a little bit of that, then you go and learn about social media and you go and learn about content, or maybe it's me and you learn whatever it is about client management, or maybe you want to learn about fat loss. It's all very surface level, which is why people struggle to articulate. They think they know, but they can't get
Like
it out.
a jack of all trades and a master of none kind of thing.
Kind of, but I would say that's a benefit, especially as an entrepreneur, to be good at a lot of little things.
Yeah.
For me, content, editing, coaching, even just sales, like convincing people that what we do is actually really good. There are so many hats to wear, but that's good because it keeps you on your feet and it keeps you adaptable. But yeah, when it comes to the actual...
Do you not then argue though that you're not going in depth because you are doing so much? And I'm just playing devil's advocate now.
Yeah, sure.
We are our accountants, we're our marketing team, we're our closers, we're our technicians, we're our editors, we're our shooters, we are all of that stuff. And if we weren't, we wouldn't have a business. It's part and parcel of the stage that we're at.
Well, let me ask you this. What would you rather do in an ideal world? You didn't have to balance all those hats. Which hat would you pick? Would you go all in?
I think I can't put like a pinpoint for me personally to like what it is exactly that I'd be involved in, but the things that I think Chris would probably second this as well. I mean, he can answer after.
Talk to me.
Just the things that move the needle for the business and like being involved in growing a business. Because me personally, I think that's fucking sick, and it's something I want to be involved in. Like, what does it actually take to scale a business? When you see these guys online, like I don't know, Hormozy, Eman, or whoever it is, and like they're directly involved in, and they know how to level up, how to go to the next level, how to out your character, like, and max him out to the absolute best possible character he can be. Like, that's cool for me personally, anyways.
And so if you don't dip your toe in every sector, so to speak, how do you know if someone, when you come to hire them, is doing a good job, or you can even keep up with them?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think I'm quite good at. This is something that I say. Like, there probably is things that I'm naturally talented at. Like, I don't know, weightlifting, for instance. I actually am quite talented at that. But
you're talented at picking things up and putting them down.
You just minus your aura. That's what he did. That's what he did.
He's talented at the same things as Scott.
Yeah, I'm a hypocrite.
I'd say that my best talent above anything else is just my ability to learn skills, and it's like I find myself quite useful. Like I can literally watch a few YouTube videos and like just do some practical learning. That's the best way that I find to learn, anyways.
But I
like
love that with YouTube,
literally
right?
just click some buttons at something that I've never done before, and I'll figure it out in like a couple hours. And it's like I fucking love that about myself because I can just learn a bunch of different things, and I accumulate all of these different skills that most people won't have, or might take longer for them to understand because they don't just try.
I want to second that quickly because I fucking love that he's got that as well. First of all, but second of all, to kind of like gas him up, I feel like he kind of contained it a little bit. H learned ManyChat inside and out in 2 days.
Oh, really?
Inside and out. And he now has other agencies that have a similar offer to us on consultant calls around ManyChat. Off of 2 days, bro. Like, it's actually so
How
stupid.
do you go about doing that, though? Like, you downloading that information, or you putting it to ChatGPT then?
Well, I find
It's a mixture of everything, isn't it?
When I really dial things back, so this is like from the start. I started gaming at quite a young age.
Me too, bro. RuneScape.
No, not RuneScape. My first ever game was the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare. So I was literally like, I was like 8 at the time, and I got my. Actually, I was gaming before that on PS2. But anyway, this is like the first time I probably got into gaming. And it's like I found myself growing up when it was like GTA or FIFA and like all of these different games. Like I would grind them out to the max and figure out exactly how to do like a certain thing. Whether it was the best example is like a money glitch on GTA. Like I'd happily sit there for hours, hours, bro, a whole day just doing the money, like selling the car in the garage because I knew that I'd get an outcome. And it's like now when I find I do these things in the modern world, I think that contributes to it massively because I completely understand that if I just do the same thing repetitively, practically, like I learn it really well. And like one thing with a lot of the things that are involved in business or like softwares and like learning them is like a lot of them do just cross over. So it's like once I learned one, it was like I watched like 3-minute minutes of like a 20-minute video on ManyChat, and I was like, I don't even need to watch this because it's so simple for me personally anyways. It was like putting everything together and just being practical about it and messing around with everything. I find that the best way to learn, and that's how I go about actually doing that. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of patterns that you can spot in one of, what would you call it, piece of software that you see in the other.
Is it?
I don't know if it's just me and it's like maybe patronizing to someone at home or whatever, but it's like they are all the fucking same to me, to be honest with you. Like I find them simple to navigate. It's like, as long as I just click some buttons, and like I probably will mess things up, but like nothing's live, so it doesn't matter. Like I'll find the cool features that no one else thinks to even look for.
You got to click every button, right? See what works.
Yeah. No, exactly though.
I should have just deleted it.
No, but I'm ruined the whole workflow.
I sit there when I do things and I just wonder what you can do with different things. Yeah, exactly.
Sure. That's how you learn, right? You know, sit back, hypothesize. For sure, it's important.
I think practical learning is the best way though possible.
Yeah,
in my opinion, anyways.
No, I don't. I mean, everyone's different, right? But I don't learn by reading a book. I learn by going out and fucking up. Experience is the best teacher. But I have to, like, if you're teaching me something, I have to do it for myself and fiddle around with it and do it in my own unorthodox way. Like, it won't make sense to you, like, what I'm doing. But that's how I learn, is like, oh, what does this button do in that manner? But I think it has, like you said, that has a lot of crossover to business as well. You know, in the beginning, you could just outsource it straight away and be like, I'm not going to get involved with that because I don't know. Or you could step up to, well, it's another string to my bow. Is that the phrase? It's another tool in my arsenal. Yeah. Is it that?
Mine is aura. Your aura tally is terrible today, bro.
Hormozy actually, I love Hormozy. He's like probably my favorite business guy to watch, and his content, I don't know, it gets me. I get him. I feel like he's just a good guy. Anyways, I watch his content in one of his business videos, because he does like really, really long form content.
Oh yeah, switched up. Right?
He's got his book coming. That's why
he speaks about. Well, he not speaks about. He basically says, he's like, in your business, like, you actually need to know how to do everything, including service delivery. Like, a lot of people do get into business and they're just like, I don't know, I can just pay him to do it and I'll just deliver it and I'll just be the middleman. Which, like, it is the case at like a certain point. We're just like not understanding service delivery. Like, imagine if it was Facebook ads and you've known absolutely nothing about any of the metrics and like you're delivering that service. Like, it's a tough place to be if a client's asking you questions.
Well, it's like also going into a garage and not knowing anything about cars, and the mechanics just like have you over. Oh, the discombobulator's failed. You can't even keep up. So you're just like, and it's the same kind of thing in your own business. If you can't even keep up on a basic level of service delivery, or whether it comes to scaling, like, no, that's not correct, or asking the right questions, you're not just potentially hindering your business, but you're missing out on learning. And what is the point of all this? For me, like, if I'm not learning, like, life is like a video game. How much can I learn in, all right, we do a lot of service delivery now, but before all that, business, I've never been very business savvy. I kind of fell into it as a result of just coaching. And then I was like, right, you actually have to scale this. Yeah. And it's not about having the best program and the best, whatever it is, client service delivery, if no one knows you exist. So then, like, okay, we've got to learn marketing. Now, how to grab attention, right? Now you've got to learn content, because whether you like it or not, you've got to be a content creator. You have a business online nowadays for most people.
Client acquisition,
and then
service delivery,
videography,
like, retention.
Like
average lifetime value.
Now we need to do an email sequence.
Yeah,
because we need to help these people or show them that we actually know our stuff. So it doesn't really ever end. But I think that's why I like it so much, is because sometimes it can become a bit too much. It's like, oh my god. But I couldn't imagine being in a Monday. A lot of people love that stability and the predictability of a 9 to 5 and climbing that corporate ladder, wherever it is. More power to you. For me, that sends me numb. Like, I have to be challenged, and maybe it's my ADHD, but wanting to do videography, like videos. Now I want to do scripting. Now I want to create the resource for a client. Now I want to take this client call. That keeps me fresh, keeps me on my toes. And I like.
Do you get bored very easily?
Yeah. So I fidget a lot. So if I'm on a client call, and Amy, my wife as well, she thinks I'm not listening if I'm like doing this or fidgeting, but that's how I listen. And if I look at you straight dead in the eyes, you'll think I'm listening, but I'm actually not. I'm zoned out. I'm like, hope they don't clock that. I'm not human. If they ask me what we said for 5 minutes, I got no idea.
I've had these elastic bands in the office that I've split and like I play with them whenever I'm on a call. Someone's throwing them away and I'm fuming. Like whenever I jump on a call with someone, I've got them and I'm playing with them, and like I understand that. I don't know what it is. It's almost like a comfort of having
it. Is like a pacifying behavior for sure. Like I need a fidget spinner or something, or my pen, just to help me listen. I don't know what that is, but I'm assuming it's my ADHD.
I replaced that with snuzz. So instead of
I'll have a snuzz in and I'll still be doing it.
Instead of the elastic band, I look for my pop.
You laugh, but that nicotine is a nootropic, so it can help with focus and increase that dopamine baseline so that you start to want to focus.
There's people that, because like
snuzz makes me a better man.
It's the
you keep telling yourself that.
it's the delivery system to get nicotine that's the issue, isn't it? There's some people in America. I was listening to Dr. Andrew Huberman on his podcast, and there's some like scientists in some labs that he's worked in where they inject nicotine into themselves for like when they go into deep work. Right. I was like, that's just insane. Like, who is doing that? It's crazy.
Fucked.
Yeah.
On the get the fucking needle out for the nicotine.
Obviously, because we both use snus, don't we? And it does help with focus.
Sure.
Obviously, you used to. It's like one of those things, but it's the delivery system that's the issue. There's nothing that is like completely a clean way to get it.
I feel like the increased focus and increased testosterone is a bit of an excuse now. We've got past that part.
Yeah.
We're just like...
I'm laughing because like it's just not even used for that anymore. I just love them. Wake up and bust.
They do
not that bad.
They actually do.
I get my workout in first.
They actually do pouches now with like no nicotine. It's like just nootropics, like lion's mane.
Oh really?
Like L-theanine.
That's pretty cool.
It is cool. I haven't tried them. I'd be curious though.
That'd probably be the only way that we get off them, just to replace the habit with something that's not.
I actually would be very curious to try them. They're not cheap though. They're like £20 a pot.
And the caffeine one as well.
Did see that?
Yeah, they have a caffeine.
Yeah.
Bro, you got to be.
Because it's straight into your bloodstream. It's like, it's like an instant hit.
I just don't want to meddle with it anymore, because when I did trial it, I just had to keep upping the dose, and then I would say, well, I've got a work block now, so I need to have one. If I didn't have one, if I was out, I'd be very irritable, and I didn't like being that fragile. Like I'd rather have more like a steady baseline of mood than to be dependent on some kind of stimulant or whatever it is.
Yeah. One thing that we are good at though is like we'll have like, let's just say like half-time intervals where we're like, right, okay, we're not doing it for this time, and like just cut them out, just to kind of reassure yourself that I don't need it.
To be fair, I leave mine at the office. Well, most of the time I leave them at the office. I'll be transparent. The past 2 nights I've taken them home, but
That's where it starts.
no, but it's like but before that I was taking them home. And I was like, I actually don't need them at home. I have wanted them the past couple of nights just because I have, but it's like I've got into quite a good routine where like I wake up without them, I go to sleep without them. Like as soon as I get home, it's like nothing's there. It's like maybe I'll just put chewing gum in or just eat some more, keep my mouth busy.
So do you have to use them all the time now? When you start a work block, is that like a cue for you guys to be like?
Yeah. It does help me focus though.
It does, but
massively.
I felt like it was becoming a crutch for me. I felt like I can't do this task unless I have this thing. And I didn't like that because I couldn't just prop up my laptop at a cafe. So it's like, oh, I'm low on this.
You wouldn't go to the cafe with a pot.
Maybe like I forgot it.
With a pot and a flat white. That's a peak male experience. That is a peak male experience.
No, it's the white monster.
Oh no, you're a monster. You're a monster, dude.
No.
Are you taking the piss?
No, I'm saying the peak male experience. If you've seen that meme where it's like a white monster and then it sniffs in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh right.
It's just like caffeine.
Are you what?
I just got some more of
guy
that. Not getting it.
No, I'm not a monster guy. No, I'm partial to the occasional energy drink, whether that's Ghost. Shout out to Ghost Supplements. They sent me a bunch of free stuff.
Come on.
Oh, cool.
With some cool nootropics in there as well. I'm partial to one of them. Like caffeine for me is really good with my ADHD for my dopamine levels. Baseline, increase that level. So that's really good. It's just abusing it. So I don't have any more than it depends. Like if I've got Mondays and Tuesdays are my biggest days, I'll have an energy drink. And then a lot of people would say, oh, they're bad for you. It's the same kind of people that then vape and get 6 hours of sleep. So it's like, well, you know,
shut up, bro. Is that literally?
Is that really gonna hurt me of someone who's training consistently, eating very well, recovery is on point, Probably not. And if anything, it's benefiting me. It's the dosage that makes the poison. So for me, caffeine, Monday, Tuesdays, I want to call it Monster. Some really good ones.
Tenzing?
Nocco's good.
It's Tenzing.
Yeah, now there's so many different like Tenzing. There's so many clean energy drink brands. There's like Virtue, X-Lite, Tenzing, Celsius are actually pretty clean as well. Like there's some pretty good brands. I find
people don't want all of the sugar and shit that comes with it now.
It's almost become like
conscious.
It's a trend that's come that will last forever. I think about like people wanting more whole foods. But like personally, I think in that industry we are going in a pretty good direction.
Yeah, we're definitely more health minded. Sure, I think.
So go on. No, go on. I was going to say something about caffeine, but
I was going to mention alcohol.
Okay.
I think the younger generation now, like some of my older clients, they really can't say no to a drink. Like I have to be like, look, we're going to go 2 weeks without a drink just so we can bank some progress, because it just ruins the weight, the mood, the strength, like everything to that degree. And the younger generation now, fortunately, I feel like you could say it was maybe COVID that made the bars empty, but do you think people also just don't really
Club scene is really slowed down.
I don't know if that's just a cultural thing or if it's actually because we've been educated a bit more about, hey, this is really not, it's just not worth it, like how you feel and how it affects you.
do you drink?
Yeah, sure. I wouldn't call myself a drinker, and I don't.
Well, like once every month, once every 6 months.
For example, we have some friends over on the weekend, or we're going to theirs. If there's a drink and the mood is right, I'll have a drink. But I'm not someone that's like, once the sun's out, I could go to the beer garden. No, I'm craving whatever it is cider. That's not me at all, because I found for me, I wouldn't even, maybe once every few months. Right. But for me, it's more about what's the pros versus cons, and the cons just outweigh it massively. Even a few drinks, I feel it, because I'm so in tune with my body. I think if anyone who's health focused, you can feel when your body's had a bit too much caffeine or if you're a bit sleep deprived. Alcohol the next day is just not worth it. I get really puffy in the face, my mood is off, my ability to focus. Even just a few drinks, a few harmless glasses of drink, it's not worth it to me at all.
The thing is, like, 1 or 2 doesn't even do anything to you as well. So it's like, it's literally just a waste of...
You were just about to say, mate, I'm fucking loopy.
I was just gonna say, I'm such a lightweight. I'll have like a glass of whiskey and I'm like,
it's probably because you're lean, to be fair, isn't it? Like, so lean.
I'm not even
No homo.
I'm not even lean as well.
Oh, don't start.
I'm not. I'm lean to the average individual, but yeah, my arms.
No, show that camera.
my arms are lean, but where I start is my love handles, and people always say, like, how do I get the last bit? The truth is,
it is the last bit, though, isn't it?
The only reason it's the last bit is because that's where your body tends to hold on to it the most in terms of how stubborn it is. There is some theories that it could be just because of the blood flow. The blood flow there isn't very good, so it's quite difficult for the body to kind of tap into those fat stores. But unfortunately, it's genetic. Some people have a nice, even body fat distribution. Other people, a lot of guys, hold it on their lower back, like me. So people think, dude, you must be like 10%. No, I hold it around my midsection, which is fine.
And me.
But if
on my belly button, like that bit there.
Yeah.
So I can see 2 abs, well, 4. But the 6 doesn't pop out.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I said on a good day at the 4.
To be fair, I'm the same. Every day, like, I wake up like 4-pack when I'm shaved.
But that's amazing.
But it's like I just hold like a little bit here, and it's like my back.
It's still amazing, right? I say I'm not that lean.
So what are we then? Obese?
No. Everyone's got their own standard, and you know, I'm glad you mentioned that, because we're all here like, oh, we've got a 4-pack. Dude, that's awesome. Like, you're in the top 1 percentile. You're in the top 1%.
Really?
Probably less than that, bro.
Yeah, like, dude,
really?
You look around.
Yeah, I think,
what is it? The US is like 78% obese. The UK now has overtaken them.
I think even like even like bench press,
man. And I had a bit of a theory. I went clothes shopping the other day. M&S, by the way, some good clothes.
That's not the first time I've heard that, bro.
Dude, it's coming up, because I like Masculinity. Masculinity is really good, but they don't really do it. It's only in London. M&S is very good.
So like that smart casual, still good quality, but not breaking the bank.
Yeah, it's really good. And
the Reese designer.
Yeah,
he's gone.
Reese
there.
is pretty good as well.
No. The Reese designer has gone to M&S.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Is that what looked into M&S or something?
No, we had a client that we were doing a shoot with, and he went to M&S because like emergency, he needed some smart clothes. He was like, "Boys, like, have you seen this?" I was like, "Fuck yeah,
Dude.
go and have a look."
It's pretty good, isn't it? Where was I going with M&S anyway? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's, again, clothes designers know this, because if you wear clothes, right, your main purpose as someone who designs clothes is to get someone to buy it. Someone's going to buy it if they feel good in it, right? Which is why sometimes if you go to certain fitting rooms, the mirror is, for women at least, is designed to slim them, like to thin them out. The mirror is designed like that.
The clothes always look better when you try them on in the fitting rooms. I always feel
They
that.
do, because the lighting is good, the mirror is good, right?
Yeah.
And if I've noticed this at least in M&S. I don't know if it's the demographic they're trying to target. I swear, nowadays there's more fabric around the waist. Like, I'm a medium or a large. There's more fabric around the waist where like this fits well. Like I'll have to get it tailored if I really like it, because this is just so baggy. And I think it's because they don't want people to feel like, oh, this really hugs my waist. You're not going to buy it. That really makes sense.
And the majority of their market, like you said, is obese.
Yeah, and it's also depends. Yeah, older demographic. Everyone's got a bit of a belly nowadays. If you look around, so just by having a 4-pack, you say, "Oh, I've only got." That's amazing.
It's funny you said that, because we were just talking about everyone being so much more health aware.
Yeah,
But then you're saying that now you look around and everyone's got a bit of a belly.
To be fair, I was gonna go back to the percentile thing, and it's like it's relatively. I mean, maybe it's easier for me to say, but it's like relatively easy to actually be in that top percentile. It's like the 4-pack, an example. It's like it's like bench more than 50 kg, 60 kg, and you're in like the top 1%. Like run a marathon, like you're in the top 0.00001% of people across the world. Like there's so many of these things that you can just do, and it puts you in that 1% very comfortably.
We actually did an episode on it, like what makes you a top 1% man or woman, and some of the like stats that we ran through, we were like, what? Really? Like, bro, if you can do a 5K in less than 32 minutes, I think it was.
35 minutes is like the average 5K.
Right.
Or something like
No, we're talking about the top 1% now.
Do you remember? I can't remember the stat for the top 1%.
But it was nuts. Like, it wasn't anything that you'd be like, oh my God, like what? That's world record numbers. Yeah. And then even down to like the finances, like if you make £10,000 a month in the UK, you're in the top 1% of earners. That's nuts.
Yeah. I mean, I know at least with the physical side of things, I think the bar is pretty low. I think we're all, you say, we're more health conscious than ever, but we're also, I'd say, more confused than ever as to actually what works. So,
because there's so many options.
Yeah, well, you have social media. So we were talking about this earlier, but you got one person saying that animal-based is superior, that the other person says, it's just about you get out what you put in. So training X amount or fasting or whatever it is. You got one group saying carnivore is really good. You got another person saying that the 5-2 diet is whatever. Right?
Just eat normally, bro.
Yeah,
People don't know what
is normal.
Yeah.
What is normal, right? People think it's weird to go through a supermarket and read the back of the label. I say that's necessary nowadays against this bombardment of junk food, of companies that obviously want you to buy at for a profit, which they make. Everything is engineered to be tasty. So they use salt, sugar, and fat, usually those three, and make it very palatable. And so it's all well and good being like, oh, that's a bit weird to look at a food label. But what else are you supposed to do in a world where the odds are against you? It's a necessary skill. It's one of the things I teach our clients. If you want to build the skill of what we call intuitive eating, you don't have to calorie track. Right? I haven't calorie tracked for the past 5 years now, but I didn't just wake up like that. I didn't just develop that skill. What you would want to do is actually start calorie tracking. Now, I know it's not sexy. I know it can feel tedious. But what else are you supposed to do in a world in which everything's highly palatable and you think, oh, that's only got 200 calories? Holy shit, it's 600. I've been doing that for the past few months. But I thought I was putting in the work. I've been training hard. I've been prioritizing my sleep. I thought I'd been going to bed at calorie deficit. This has been slipping me up. If we had just calorie tracked, we wouldn't have had that issue. And once you calorie track for long enough, it's like a muscle, and you start to develop like this intuitive approach. Like I'll walk down a food aisle and I'll just be able to instinctively know, yeah, it's about 100 100 calories per whatever.
It comes from putting the reps in and having experience, though, right?
Yeah, it's like when we're talking about that software stuff. Once you know ManyChat, you don't really see it as ManyChat. You kind of understand it differently, right? And same with food. Like if you put a plate in front of me, I know roughly what that is. I only got there by being neurotic. I only got there by being that weirdo.
I used to when I was younger. I'm pretty similar in that aspect. Like I understand it now pretty much to a T. Like I was speaking to Goss, who you met on the walk. He was asking me, he's like, bro, how much do you roughly eat in a day? I was like, I don't know, but I can work it out now. And it's like going back years. I'll never forget it. We went to Nando's like when I did used to track from like 17 until 20. 16 until 20. I tracked my food, and we were in Nando's with Chris and one of my other pals. And I was tracking my food before I had my meal. And he said to me, he was like, bro, what are you doing? I was like, I'm tracking my food, man. Like, I want to be in shape. It's like, that's gay. It's like, how is that fucking gay?
But people...
He's not talking about me, by the way.
Yeah, Kristen.
But nothing's ever about you. It's about them. So what you're doing there is perhaps potentially reflecting his own lack of care for his body, maybe. Maybe he took that as, oh, this guy is taking it serious and I'm not. I'm just going to call that gay because it makes me feel...
Well, the guy is not in shape.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Wasn't and still isn't.
Right. And so, I had that as well when I was a mechanic when I first started out, working.
Oh, wait, is a combobulator a real part of a car?
No.
I wasn't sure whether you made it up or not. I wasn't sure if you made it up or not.
That's funny. That's funny.
I don't know. No, because you said it and I was like, that's made up.
Now
and
he's trying to explain it. He's trying to justify it. More
and then you said you were a mechanic.
You're the guy that gets ripped off a garage.
Yeah, mate, your discombobulator's gone out. It's going to be 1,400 quid.
Like the Jack
How would you
Johnson
like to
meme.
pay? Cash or card?
No, I thought it was fake until you said it that you were a mechanic. Then I was like, wait, what? Was that real?
No, that's definitely not real. But yeah, mechanic when I started out. And I used to get poked fun at, like, oh, you're a pretty boy, you're bringing your healthy food in, and yet they all looked like shit, to put it bluntly. And I looked pretty freaking good. And the reason is because I was doing that gay stuff, whatever you want to call it, to look like that. And people only do that. It's always like a mirror. When people say anything like that, hate online, for example, it's always a reflection. That person's clearly not in a good place with their life, that they feel like they need to comment externally to you that H, that's gay or whatever it is, to try and bring you down, to make themselves feel better about their life. Nothing's ever about you. It's always them. So whenever I'm met with comments like that, I don't read too much into it, or you just gotta accept it. When you do something different to the norm, people are always going to question things. For example, online nowadays, we were talking about it before, about, the amount of comments that I get nowadays. I'm a cunt. Kill yourself, you're bullshit, like influencer coach, like you don't know what you're doing.
Don't forget the steroids.
Yeah, or it's you're either on steroids or you're skinny. You're not going to please every crowd, but I usually find that's a good sign if you get a bit of...
I was just going to say, like, it might not seem like it. To some people anyways, I think you're quite level-headed, but it's like, it's a good thing.
I'd say I'm pretty blunt, but I'm only blunt because I would want that for me if someone's helping me. Like, don't sugarcoat it. Like, tell me the truth here. Like, could I be better? Like, what's the reality here? Because that's only what ever helped me, is just saying the blunt truth. I think it's better to do that than try and beat around the bush. And sometimes that rubs people the wrong way. Like, one of the videos I put up was I just record some of my client calls, because we often say some good stuff that often people can maybe relate to. And this client saying to me, hey, look, Alex, just so you're clear, I just want to get a little bit of muscle. Like, I never want to be as big as you. And I was like, look, my friend, with all due respect, like, you couldn't get as big as me if your life depended on it. And obviously I didn't include that first part. I took it out of context because it sounds better. It's better for content. But the amount of people that latched onto that and said, you're not even big, like, this is a mid physique, like, dude's deluded, like, I always had this arrogance, is the big person in the room with us, like, all these. I mean, I was just laughing at me and Amy, but you're always gonna get people like that if you are, I would say, being authentic, unapologetically. Because the way I would see it is, can I back this up? Like, if people are hating on me, can I back it up? Like, do I actually believe it in my heart and heart? Absolutely. Like, you're not going to accidentally wake up jacked, my friend. Like, that's my point. Was the client was, you should be pushing as hard as you can, because you've got all these responsibilities. His client was 40 plus years old. He's not really trained ever. You're not going to really, unless you train consistently 10 years, even be near me. And that's just the blunt of it. And that's fine. That should be liberating to push yourself. Not that I'm belittling you. It's to make you hey, look, this is the reality of the situation. You got to push. Whether you want to get too big, like everyone's trying to get too big in the gym. It's difficult. You guys know it yourself. So
I'd imagine your clients, because of who they are and what they do, probably respect that more. That you are blunt and straight up.
Yeah, they do. That's often why they just resonate with, again, Vibe Attracts Your Tribe. So
yeah,
they like that content. For a lot of people, I think a lot of people nowadays are bubble-wrapped. Yeah, can't say that. Soft. I even put a word out on one of my swipes, and I'm giving out helpful information for free, by the way. Like, I'm literally saving you hours spending it on the internet trying to go through YouTube. Oh, is this guy correct? Literally just comment the word fatty, and I'll send you this free fat loss resource. And one guy was like, why'd you have to make the word fatty? As if that's offensive.
And then the ManyChat still sent to me anyway.
Yeah. And I was like, he might warm up to me. Yeah. But, people just can't say anything nowadays without offending one group. And I feel like we cater to the minority rather just being like, hey, look, no, this is the situation, or it's a little bit of a joke, the word fatty, like it's not that deep. And you can't even be fat nowadays either without someone being like, well, I was fatter. Like, I shared my story of why I put on a bunch of weight. And let me add to that. It wasn't that I put on weight and I was just a non-passer, like not build. I'd actually been in incredible shape. And then I got really out of shape. And that, no one talks about how difficult that is mentally to go from really good shape to out of shape. And I told that story, and one person was like, you wouldn't even know difficulty if it hit you in the face. Like, as if it's like a competition of who's fatter nowadays. You can't do anything or say anything on social media without someone trying to one-up you, dick measuring contests or whatever it is. Like, everyone wants to be like, no, I'm more of a victim than you. And I just find that, does that help you in any way to be a victim?
Oh, no, not really.
No, absolutely. I think we're so soft generationally in that aspect online that people just can't take some bluntness. If you don't like it, you can keep scrolling, you doom scroll, or you can be like, maybe there's some merit to what this guy's saying. I'm just going to try it. He's give out a free resource. Screw it, I'll watch it. I'll actually apply for the next 3 months. I'll just put my ego aside, see what it's like. I've actually helped you, but yet you'll call me this, that, and the other because it hurts your ego. You don't like it, but that's why I would never apologize for doing those things, because I do with intent to help, whether you like it or not.
You're moving with pure intentions.
Sure. Yeah. Maybe the execution is a little bit blunt, but if you don't like it,
fuck them.
Yeah, but there's that. You can finish the resource. Like, fuck me for making a living helping people. Is that really too bad? But I find that so common nowadays.
I get really pissed off by that shit.
People love to call people out on things like that, and it's like, dude, if someone's building the social media on helping people, if you don't like it, you don't need to like cut them down. But it comes with the territory when you.
Bro, if you spent half of the time and half the energy that you're investing into, because if someone's doing that on your shit, they're probably doing it on other people's shit.
I'm sure. Have you guys ever in your life left?
Never. No.
I don't.
I don't even comment, even if I like see things that I like. Like, I sometimes
cool. Nice.
I have to remember to even
Unless
like
it's Alex
it.
Hormozy.
Yeah.
No, this week.
He gets me.
Every year, DM him happy birthday. I hope you see this.
He's blocked you. I don't know why I can't find his profile anymore.
User not found. Why did Alex Hormozy get hacked?
Yeah.
Fucking hell. But no, genuinely,
never.
Me neither.
I don't even know how the thought crosses your head.
What really frustrates me about it is like the guys, like you're saying, the guys that are doing it are either they've not got no profile picture, they've got no followers, and it's like, bro, like, what part of you thinks that is gonna help or change your situation? First of all, second of all, what part of you actually thinks that it's gonna change my situation? Because if I see you in my comment section, I seen it and it's gone, and I keep stepping, and I'm going to make another video and another one. There's going to be another one. There's going to be another comment. There's going to be whatever. There's no, maybe because it's maybe just me, but what are you trying to get out of this?
Make themselves feel better. It's always about them.
But where do you get the kick though?
It's by putting other people down. That's what it is.
Is it because you want a couple of people to like your comment, or someone to reply and say, yes, dude, I agree?
It stems from like jealousy, doesn't it? And they want to almost like create a cohort.
Chris just said it then. What are they doing throughout the day? And so they feel like they need to fill something. They need to fill something throughout the day. And whether it's a comment, to feel like they matter, that they're doing something. But when you're too busy, whatever you're doing, if I see something I really disagree with and I think that guy's even a scam artist, I'm not gonna comment like, well, what's the difference does it make?
There's times where
he's still gonna keep scamming.
I actually want to hate on something, but I take myself away from
Energetically,
that.
it's not worth it going into that.
Yeah.
Right?
I'll tell you how I feel.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like someone literally chatting the absolute most shit. And there's part of me which is like wants to go into the comment section and say, what about this? What about this? What about this? But then it's like,
What's the point?
what does that? First of all, what's the point? Second of all, what can I be doing with my time that's better? And third of all, do I actually win anything?
This is the thing. So
What do I actually gain?
if you've ever replied to these comments just to show like the fallacy of their thinking, this is completely wrong. The best case scenario is they just don't reply.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario is they just start attacking you as a person.
Yeah.
Right, and then you're starting to get riled up. So I'll only ever reply, and this is, to be frank, purely for engagement.
Yeah.
They start boosting the video up, and like, this is great. So I'll just like kind of start not trolling them, but
Remember
I'll reply.
Dad.
With who? What was the guy?
I don't know. I can't remember his name. We used to have like someone who used to hate on the pod, like
Every week.
Just one guy. It was like close to when we first started. Like
What do you mean? You used to have someone you used to hate.
Like, it was just one person. Like we don't know this guy.
on the podcast.
Yeah. Like
Every reel, every YouTube,
super hater, like everything. Like when it even
From
find
details,
everything.
like-
every real.
Did they have a
short-
profile picture?
Yeah. Yeah, no, they were a legit person, but you go across to their account and you're like, fucking hell, you're a bit of a weirdo, aren't you? Like, it was one of them ones.
But what did they do where they're following more people than who follow them? I feel that's a big red flag.
Yeah.
5,000 people following.
I think it was one of them.
Dude, what are you seeing every day on 5,000
Yeah.
people?
Chris's dad used to sit in the comments and argue with him, defending us, like every day.
Nice. I like your dad. I love that.
Yeah, no, but the ones, like, I actually...
His dad was like, "I'm gonna find you and I'm gonna fuck you up."
No, it was really bad. It was really bad. Like, to the point where I saw it, I hadn't deleted everything. I was like, no, I can't leave these on here, bro. What do you mean? Imagine the reel goes viral, bro. It's quite blatantly obvious that that's my dad. He shares my second name. He looks like me, and then he's like going like paragraphs, like, "Listen to me, you little fucking prick." This is.
I really like that.
Yeah, to an extent, but it went boom, 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 and they were going back and forth. I was like, "Pops, you're going back and forth with like a 20-year-old kid
You
now."
wake up with like, Chris, I responded to the hater for you.
It's like, Dad, have you not got anything better?
Mine
to do
is
with your time?"
aura, bro. Dad, you just lost hella aura, bro. Going back and forth. Oh, that was it. Matt Gardner.
Yeah, that's well remembered. That's
What a
good
tight-
stuff.
That's his name.
Matt Gardner.
Giving him.
Oh, we don't listen anymore.
We
He
used to-
hasn't.
it's been a while.
It's been a
since
minute.
he left.
Maybe he's got nothing to hate on anymore.
Maybe he's been waiting for this moment.
I'll be back. Fuck it.
But haters are gonna hate, man.
Yeah.
Part of that. It was funny is before I had the influx of followers, I wasn't really getting any hate. Only like support and stuff. I have not blown up yet. Like, not that I think I'm anything special, but the moment I got the influx, it feels like more hate than positive. But then I think like that maybe that's the right direction, surely, because people only start caring once you start actually growing. It's kind of like when people wanted to see you do well, but never better than them. And I knew I was kind of on the right trajectory because what I could say, I could back it up with what a lot of things I was saying, which is kind of cold hard truths about health and fitness.
And you're so confident in it as well. You have to be. You're so confident in it as well.
I mean, yeah,
You know it inside and out.
16 years doing that, 5 years coaching. People say you don't know what you're talking about, blah blah blah. But proof's in the pudding, and I used to in the beginning I shy away from it, and it would usually really annoy me because I'm like, I'm putting out all this helpful content. You guys are calling me a prick. It's like, what else do you want me to do? But then you just kind of have to accept it. I mean, imagine it's only like that on a massive magnitude with like Andrew Tate. I guess the thing that's really difficult about it sometimes is you could be putting out so much good, helpful stuff, and it feels like you're getting more hate than positive. And it's almost like, why am I doing this? You know what? You go and get ripped off and go and keep searching on YouTube, and I'll just go back to cookie cutter, basic, top 5 tips.
I feel like, to be fair, I feel like the YouTube, like to start in your fitness journey, builds character, like going through all the videos, searching for the info. Obviously not saying that there isn't easier ways to do it now, like with everybody's got their offer with lead magnets like yourself. It's like, I don't know, there's something pure about that. There was something pure about that being like a 16-year-old or 15-year-old and like going on YouTube, like how to build muscle, like how to get a six-pack. And like you're watching the videos like six-pack in 5 minutes by, what was his name? Athlete X. That's who used to do it. Yeah. It was like you realize that that's bullshit.
I don't know. Was it Scott Herman? Scott Herman as well. It was Athlete X, Scott Herman, Matt Ogus.
No,
you guys ain't the OG.
I used to
right now.
I used to watch this guy called Gabriel Say. He was like the best fitness advice that I found growing up.
Is he super jacked? Is it calisthenics stuff?
No. He was just like normal bodybuilding. He was sponsored by like Bulk, like OG back in the day, like really old Bulk branding with his bulk powders. Yeah. He was sick though.
It's changed a lot now though. Like, if you go on YouTube now is it Sam Sulek? That's the kind of stuff people like. It's just
his vlogs. I went to sleep to him once. They're quite relaxing. Genuine.
Yeah, soothing.
Yeah.
But I think nowadays with YouTube, we're going to get back on YouTube. As of right now, the whole focus has just been, frankly, like service delivery. With like YouTube is a nice to have for us. It's like fundamentally you're a coach, number one. If you're working with people, you can get caught up in content creation. And I think it's probably the most important thing, whether you like it or not. Because like I said, you can have the best service loop. If no one sees you through good hooks and being good on camera and articulate, then it's kind of useless because you're not really going to get any clients.
Yeah.
But YouTube is something that we're going to be moving to actually in the next week or so. Now that we've,
it's a very good move.
Yeah, we had it up previously. Where was that? 3K subs.
That's more than us. To be fair.
Dude, I want to chase
after 112 podcasts. My boy posted 3 videos and got 3K subs.
I was sweating it, to be fair, and yeah, so that's coming back because I wanted to do more of the long form content. Because for me, whether you like it or not, like Instagram, 30-second reel, there's only so much people can build a relationship with you. Whereas a good 15, 20 minute, maybe even like 45 minute, educational something.
Spot on, bro.
Right? So there is that coming. So.
Build trust, put you in a position of authority.
Yeah.
People can see that you know your shit inside out because you're speaking in depth. You can see, the way that you say it, the body language of you. You can't get this stuff through IG Reels.
The thing that annoys me in this industry, and you'll get it in any industry actually, copycats, but there are people out there who literally, I've seen this, I don't know the name actually, but they'll literally steal the transcript word for word of a popular viral video. And I'm all about making it your own, like steal like an artist, but then make it your own, put your own twist on it. They literally transcript word for word and then gain the followers, and then they'll start promoting the course or program. And I'm like, it's just a bit frustrating because it puts a bad rep on everyone else who's trying to do the due diligence and make original content.
You should try funneling people from your short form content with ManyChat DMs to your long form content when you put out like loads of value, because then they're just going to see you more and more. And it's
we do through emails. So
okay, cool. Yeah. You should try it with ManyChat though. Like collect their name and email, like to access your free training, which is just like a 40-minute YouTube video that you've put out there that they can then go and watch, and then they're further getting nurtured by you, and then you can still send them emails with value and new videos in the future.
We have a free webinar that's 45 minutes. It's the webinar that was hosting. Okay, cool. Before I had to drive to Portugal. It's that very webinar. I shit you not. Yeah. So it's like a 50-minute, pretty valuable stuff, completely free.
No, Alex has done his due diligence, bro.
We're getting there. Like, I'm still a baby, man.
No, you're a big G, bro. You'll figure it out.
Appreciate it, man. You two guys, but
thank you.
I would never consider myself business savvy, but I've had to get business savvy as a result of starting this coaching. Kind of just fell into it.
I think H says it a lot, and I feel like it's spot on. You're saying that you're not business savvy, but really, what is business savvy?
I just think because
Someone that's relentless.
yeah, I think I curated that through the gym though. That taught me a lot.
Yeah.
Of it's kind of far. Like your physique, the choices you make throughout the day represented on in your body.
It's a delayed gratification.
Yeah, and you could say, oh, I went through a very stressful period, and dude, I was, between us or the audience, I was very, very stressed in Portugal with the visa stuff and business and getting married. Like I could have been like, fuck this, I'm not training. I ain't got time. I'm not even doing a workout. Well, I'm just gonna eat out. I'm gonna eat out of convenience rather than
beer.
Eh?
That would have been beer.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, I'm gonna eat out of convenience rather than goal orientation. And so you can always find an excuse as to why I look like this, but ultimately that's why I was gravitated towards building a physique in the beginning, because it was like a true testament of when no one's looking, this guy does what he says. Like, yeah, he goes to bed hungry or he has a goal and he shows up, he's disciplined. It's what it symbolizes. So that taught me a lot in terms of also putting it into the business. Like you talking about the value of the spa, same with the gym. Like you show up for 3 months, nothing really happens. 6 months, you start getting some results. And it is just ruthless quality, consistency.
I find that with training, I mean, obviously with business, like I don't think that me and Chris have made enough of ourselves to really be like, the journey and all that shit. Because we're in the journey right now, and it's like, like fuck me, like we just want some money.
Sure,
don't have it.
Give me the money.
I find with
side on the road.
I find with training, whether obviously I know your opinions on high rocks, whether like when I went through a high rocks prep training for a marathon or whatever race it is, trying to put on muscle in the gym and like I'm trying to hit a certain lift.
Sure.
Like I find the journey in those things, they are usually pretty shit in the time when I'm going through it. But that is the part that's the fun part, because then you actually finish the journey like, oh fuck me, like it was all just for that. Like, is that it?
Well, it's the process itself that you're after. People don't even realize it, but that's what's cultivating the character. So it's not that you should be chasing gains in the gym, which you should be, but people get it backwards. They think that I need to be getting stronger, and you absolutely are. But in the pursuit of that, what is that building? Patience, discipline. It's all character building. If you wanted to make a man patient, would you give him everything linearly? And just, when you put in the work, you get it? No, you'd swipe the rug under.
It's almost humbling when you go through like the hardship that it takes to achieve a certain goal.
I feel like Amy says you should be proud of what you're doing and how well you've done in such a short time frame and not really knowing too much about business and coming into it. But the only reason I would say I am where I am is because I've felt so much more, probably more than I should have as well. Like everyone says, success is predicated on failure. You've got to fail like 100 times for that one success. I feel like I've had to fail 300 times for that one success. So that kind of...
Doesn't it make it feel better though?
No, because it's like, it's just a standard for me. Like I will not settle until we make something that's good, right? Whether that's successful coaching business, whether we would then move into something else later down the road, right? But for me, it's always about that Kaizen mentality of always improving. And if I'm not, I really don't like it. That's why I got bored of the gym past 5 years, to be honest. I've just been going through the movements because I've completed it. I've deadlifted, I've powerlifted, I've been lean. So that's where I found boxing, where I'm learning, I'm improving. When I'm sparring, I love it because I think you should be trying to learn and improve. And fail a lot, right? I get punched in the face a lot of times, but I think a lot of people are scared to fail.
Yeah, but how fucking sick is it though when you actually like do something and it's the improvement?
Yeah, that dopamine
over time.
Yeah, for sure. Like that's what keeps you going.
You understand what those repetitions were for over a 3-month period to just do one thing.
Yeah, but what else are you going to do, man? You're just going to wither away and be a victim and just be frail and weak and not be able to handle anything. Again, I just see it as a video game. So just fail a lot and eventually you'll crack it. Some sooner than others. I would say I'm a pretty late bloomer as well. But we're on the right path and things are going well. We just got to keep compounding. A lot of it is just doing the boring work day in, day out.
I literally said this the other day. I said, like, I was trying to upkeep some kind of image on socials, but 90% of entrepreneurship is what you actually do. So it is coaching, it is service delivery, it is content creation, it is editing. The 10% that the majority of these online kind of gurus show is that small highlights.
Yeah.
It's 10%,
it's the top of the iceberg.
5%, and it's like, look at me, look at me, look at me. But 95% of their day to day is them doing what they do so that they can have that 5 or 10%. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, man, it's hard. It's a lot of work, but it's the life that we chose.
What else are you going to do? Right? Easy choices, hard life. Hard life, easy choices.
Vamos.
I think it's a nice place to end, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Alex, man, it's been a pleasure. Genuinely,
Absolutely.
it really has.
Once again, guys, twice.
Yeah.
We're going for a trio.
Facts.
Yeah, we'll go for the hat trick.
We'll run it back.
I'll go get some more stories. But I need to come back with some more quotes so that you guys can then.
There you go. You haven't given us any today.
I gave you the coffee and the yacht.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. If you can't be happy with the coffee, then you won't be happy with your.
Again, I'm not original, but I stole that from someone else. But
Well, yeah, like H said, bro, thank you for coming down. We appreciate you.
Pleasure, lads.
And yeah, all of you guys listening on Spotify, make sure to leave us a 5-star review and follow. Repetitions. It's okay. And to all of you guys on Spotify, make sure to leave us a rating and a follow if you haven't already. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn the bell notification on so we get notified every time we release a podcast. And we'll see you all next week.
Catch you later, guys. Thanks for listening.
Peace.
Sure. That was Minosaur, by the way.
Wow.
oh,
Couldn't wait to get that one in, could ya, dickhead? Right, where's my snuzz?